Alrighty, welcome along to tonight's Saturday session. I'm going to run through my holistic nutrition booklet that I've put together. This is a draft, so I've still got a couple of more things to do, but I just wanted to run through it with you and share it with you, uh, and share how it's come about, and for me, what I guess is underpinning it all. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you all. And we're going to go through it. So, what I might do first is I'll give you a little bit of, no, we'll jump straight into it. I'll show you the guide first, and then I'll give you a little bit of background info along with it. So, I shall just share my screen. Uh, okay, and I'm going to hide my little thumbnail, leave myself up there. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a booklet that people are going to start receiving shortly that are a part of the journey with me. And just wanted to show you a few key points in this little booklet. And then I'm going to talk to you about a couple of other things that are in the background of it, if you like. So the start of the booklet talks quite a lot about the habit in terms of nutrition. Okay, so notice this says holistic nutrition weight loss habits. I just want you to see this as nutritional habits, and I may actually change that because I want you to start looking at this as a way to live your life so that you feel really well. We want to focus on longevity. Now, to study longevity fully, we need to be looking at data from 50 to 80 years. And at the moment, that's just not there from the longevity point of view, but we can start to be a part of that now with what we do. So this is your guide, if you like. There's a few things that I want you to notice here, and that is about becoming fierce and building really healthy habits. So really looking after yourself. You want to focus, however, on 80% quality, which gives you a 20% window where you can actually explore different foods if you want to, or dip into different cravings. And this will look different for every person. Okay, so I personally use a zigzagging method with my food, but that's because I've reached a point where I know what my body's telling me. So if you're just starting this journey and you're not 100% sure how to listen to your body, you probably want to follow this a little bit more intensely, and you would want to look at 80%, including 80% of your time. So you wouldn't be dipping into the chips and dips and stuff thinking it's only 20% because you only do it once a day. You would want to start making it like a cheat day or a day off if you like. But anyway, so you want to look at 80% quality. You want to make sure that you eat your 3 meals a day. And we can talk about fasting. So perhaps you're doing intermittent fasting, so you need to shorten that window. Regardless, we're going to work out calories in a minute. So regardless, you're looking at three meals a day instead of snacking across a whole day. Drinking your water, making sure that you do it, and make sure that you don't eat when you're stressed. So if you are highly stressed, then perhaps you're going to have a day of fasting, or perhaps we need to talk about some other stuff, but this is just in general, okay? The 80-20 ratio goes for real whole foods. So I like this bit, foods that either grow, run, swim, or fly. They're foods that your great grandparents would have eaten. And if you think about that, they didn't really have a lot of processed foods back then. They weren't exactly buying anything in a packet. And one of the gentlemen that I listen to sometimes on YouTube, he talks about eating food that doesn't come in a box or a bag with a barcode. Start thinking about that. I understand that you may see that as convenient. However, one healthy meal prepared with nourishing ingredients is better than you eating 3 meals of crap. So remember that as well. It's no magic food. And you may be wondering what balancing has to do with anything, and that's where we dip into that insulin blood sugar level. Okay, we want to avoid the spikes in the blood sugar, and you can get a constant glucose monitor. A few of you have the link now for me to be your practitioner and guide you with that from that perspective, but you can purchase constant glucose monitors. If you use my link, you'll get them for $129 Australian, and you wear it for 14 days, and that gives us enough data to start working with. And then you can repurchase your own as well. There's a whole other system that runs along with that where you can actually get the support of a dietitian if you want to, and I can just be there as your coach, or you can have a coach or a nutritionist working with you as well. You don't even need to really work that closely with me. You could just have me there as an overarching if you like. But there's a few different options with the constant glucose monitor. The other thing is to check your glucose in the morning or insulin in the morning yourself. Now, what we're going to do in a minute is on the next screen, we're going to work out or show you an example of a maintenance schedule. Okay. Now, when you want to work with weight loss, you're potentially going to be working in a deficit of calories. You would have heard that before. You can use MyFitnessPal to track your food and your calories. But here's your ideal makeup, okay? We're going to be working with protein, fiber, and fat. Now, you will notice that I don't say protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Protein, fiber, and fat. Sometimes your carbohydrates is going to be fiber. So when I say carbohydrates, I don't mean white rice, okay? Maybe it's cauliflower rice because veggies have fiber in them, but they also are carbohydrates. So I want you to start flipping your mindset around that. It's protein, fiber, and fat. And again, okay, this is all in the booklet. I'm just running you through it. Here are your 4 simple ways to eating the fewer calories while still feeling full. All right. So again, this is geared towards people who want to start shifting their body composition and making positive changes that way. So you want to focus on a volume by adding a lot of low glycemic vegetables, so low GI they call it. But look at fruits and veggies, okay? Veggies more than fruits, but whole food is the key. 7 to 10 grams of fiber per meal. Now, if you're doing keto, what you'll find is that your total carbohydrate is your net carbs are carbohydrates minus fiber. That gives you your net carbs for the day, all right? Ideally, you want to be drinking water, herbal teas, sparkling water. I would prefer that you made your own milks and definitely stay away from sweeteners and stay away from no sugar drinks, all that sort of jazz, right? So this is serious, guys. I want you to start thinking about this really seriously because your body, that saying that your body is a temple, so true, right? It is your only place that you get to live. But nobody can make any other changes to. It's all yours. So I'm going to show you quickly the calculator. So all you do is when you get your little booklet off me, you then, no, Raf, get down. You then go to this calculator from your link. It's pretty easy, right? Male or female, put in your height, put in your weight, put in your age. So you're looking at mine. I say that I do moderate exercise. I actually train every day, but this is up to you, all right? So if you do no exercise, click on no exercise, all right? Your goal is either to change weight or maintain weight. So if I did 0 exercise and I just want to maintain weight, so when we maintain weight, we're looking after our BMR, which is our basic metabolic rate. That is what we need to eat to keep our body functioning. All right. So if I was to do no exercise at all, and wanted to just maintain my weight the way that it is, I should be eating around 1,600 calories a day. Now, I know what I'm like. Sometimes I'm lucky if I eat 1,000 calories in a day, but some people are eating a lot more than that. All right, so it's becoming mindful about the food that you eat in terms of the breakdown of the food, but it's also the calorie content that's in that food. Now, if you use MyFitnessPal, or you tap into a nutritional booklet like what I've put together, you're pretty safe in terms of knowing what your calories are. But MyFitnessPal will let you do it. It's just going to take some work, guys, and you own your own human body, so do the work. This breaks it down for you, okay? It tells me that I should be eating up to 144 grams of protein in a day, 267 grams of carbohydrates. Now, remembering carbohydrates is fiber-based carbs, so that's veggies and fruit. That's not potatoes, bread, cakes, processed carbs, okay? And for me, I go on the high end of fat, so 64 grams of fat. I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. So my goal with this would be a higher protein, a lower carbs, and a higher fat. That's personal choice. It's also up to me. Now, if I was to want to change my weight, you pick a target weight. So say my target weight was 58 kilos. I'm happy to lose it at a normal rate, okay? It's going to give you a totally different breakdown. Okay. So this tells you what to break it into, okay? So it is a really, really good. Why is it not showing me? It is a really good calculator when I can get it to work. Okay, yep, there you go. So that's breaking it down to show you your suggested intake, all right? And it's dropped your calories down. Obviously that's not what mine is. Let's change this. So someone who exercises 4 to 5 times a week wants to be eating at least 2,400 calories a day. Anyway, you get the drift, right? You see how to change it. So if we go back to the guide, I'll show you what else I've put in here. So next page shows you how to make your own meal, right? So protein is either between 85 to 170 grams, so that's based on your calculation, or 1 scoop of protein powder. So this is an idea for a meal. The fiber would be 2 cups of low GI veggies, and the fat would be 1 to 2 tablespoons of fat. And you could add in some additional fiber if you wanted to, all right? But if you don't want to make your own, I've also put recipes in here. So the people that are going to receive this book, these are some of the recipes that you're going to get. I'm pretty happy with the way that things have turned out, and I have tried most of these recipes now, which is really cool. I've made this booklet generic in that if you don't want to eat, if you're not vegetarian, that's okay, all right? There's things in here like the chicken salad, and one of the other, there's turkey burgers. If you don't like turkey, switch it out. This one has got, yep, chicken breasts and things like that in it. Teaches you how to make your own poke balls. These are meatballs, okay? So I made this a whole food recipe booklet. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now, that's the little guide that I've done up, all right? There's quite a few recipes in there. They've got about 40, actually. Slow cooked meals, teach you how to put some boxes together as well, talk to you about dishes, and a couple of treats thrown in at the end. So I'm pretty stoked with that. That's the little booklet that I put together. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was where did this come from, or why did I go there? And this is because I have been working through quite a lot of information with the functional medicine side of things, and knowing that everything comes back to the one basis, all right? So this is the nutritional pyramid that you're looking at now. What I want you to pay attention to is everything that is over here on the left-hand side of the screen as you look at it. We want to manage the overall overwhelm and allow for prioritization. So a lot of this is education. That's why I've spent the time to put the guide together. We want to make sure that we work towards all of this before we start adding anything else in. Okay, so everything else comes first. And that's one of the reasons why I put a booklet like this together. The second thing is the pyramid of structure. You'll notice down the bottom, we look at nourishment first before we move into the sustenance level, right? So this is phase one, really, to me. And your first level coming on board is helping you with your mindset, helping you with your sleep, helping you with your stress, helping you with your digestion. Then we're going to go into that restoration process. Okay, so this is where we're going to start looking at elimination and waste, also looking at help with your with your gut and all that sort of jazz. And then you go into defend. Then you go into regulate. Now that's your thyroid. That's your sugars. We look at your relationship with different things and then making sure that everything's happy. So we've all got to start on that first level. How's our mindset? How's our sleeping? How's our stress? And how's our digestion? So I really like that. And these are coming to me via the Institute of Health. So I really love that. The other thing is the nutritional flow, again, coming to me from the Institute of Health, but understanding that there are so many different ways for us to work with nutrition. And uh, heaps of people want to go on a weight loss journey, right? But it might be more to do with your hormones and all that sort of jazz that's causing you grief. So, and for a lot of cases, in most cases, actually, it's an insulin sensitivity, which is where your constant glucose monitor comes into play, because then you're able to test your body and to see what happens. So, when you get stressed out, insulin reacts. When you eat the wrong food, insulin reacts. When you train too hard, insulin reacts. When you are sleeping, insulin reacts. It's a part of the body's process. But we've got to understand what happens for our own body in order to work out what do we need to do to build strength, what do we need to do for fat loss. You can go through all of these different diet types, if you like, and they will all work as long as it's appropriate for you. Now, that's why this little guide is a guide, but you've got to go in and work out your own macros. You've got to go in and use that calculator and work out what suits you. And we also need to work together on a few different things. So this is a part of a 115-page document, which is something that I use as my blueprint. So I have a blueprint questionnaire that I get people to do when they first start working with me from that functional perspective, and that gives me an overview of what's happening. The biggest thing on the stress side that you may not necessarily think about, but which would totally be wreaking havoc with your insulin and your body's desire to let go of weight, is psycho-emotional. So this sort of stuff is important. So you want to have a think about a lot of this before you go into your physiological stuff, all right? So think about how are you surviving at the moment? We're in 2025. There's a lot of different things happening in terms of the economy. There's a lot of different things happening financially for a lot of people. Life is changing. So are you struggling with that? And how often are you struggling with that? How did you go with the recent political decisions? Do you trust what's happening around you? Do you trust yourself? Uh, are you striving for perfectionism? Have you got no identity? Okay. Missing direction? Are you afraid of different things? Have you just been through heartbreak? A lot of people at the moment are experiencing anxiety and anger. And have you been through trauma? So there's some of the questions that I would ask. Then we go into our physiological aspect. Have you got, and now andropause is the male version or male terminology for menopause. So women tend to make a lot of noise around this one, and it appears when you look on social media that it's one of the things that's targeted with advertising, I guess. But andropause, middle age, is something that happens with men as well. We have nutrient deficiencies. I found out through another client who has lived in Western Australia for a very long time that apparently the soil over here is definitely lacking in magnesium. He was telling me there's no magnesium in the soil here. So there is a requirement for us to supplement, and we may not necessarily know that until we test bloods. Liver and kidney function, lack of sunlight is vitamin D linked. Nearly all homes in Australia have mold. Have you got issues with parasites? Have you been told that you got SIBO or IBS? It's that sort of stuff. Do you do a lot of training? You got sleep apnea, constipation? So this is a big questionnaire, all right? So to shortcut that questionnaire and to make the whole process a lot easier, we can go back to the wellness lifestyle assessment. So I will give you a link to do this actual assessment. You can go through and you tick the box, okay? You put in there what your scores are, it'll give you a total score. And then we're going to have a look at this again, pyramid of support, if you like. It's a wellness pyramid. But you'll notice at the bottom level, the very first pillar is nutrition and digestion. Then we're going to go into movement and metabolism. rest and manage stress. So are you seeing a similarity here to the other one I showed you before? Reduce toxicity, and then you're going to go into the other ones. So up here would, to me, would be supplementation and stuff. The first thing that we want to make sure is that you're actually digesting your food and absorbing things and that your nutrition is on point. Do you need to modify the food that you're eating? Um, and normally it's just starts with awareness, okay? You got to become aware of things. Now, the one thing that's probably not presented that much on here is the psycho-emotional. Start to pay attention to when you eat food and why you eat the food. Are you bored? Is it a reaction to stressful situation? Do you find that when you get upset you eat? Do you find that when you get upset you don't eat? Do you find that when the stress is gone you overeat? Do you find that you are eating food but never feeling like you're full? That's not in on this table so much, but I want you to start thinking about those things as well because that tucks in with the weight loss guide that I put together. And it's a massive part of that first level. So that's probably all I wanted to share with you tonight. I shall jump back into, I'll stop share, jump back over here. So, yeah, I'm really excited to get this into people's hands and to hear how people go. I have put smoothies, oh, okay. I have put smoothies and things like that in it. I really have an issue looking at myself. I have put smoothies into that, understanding that we're coming into winter. So if you want to swap it out for a soup, go for it. That's probably the only thing that I didn't put in there was soups. But I'd love to hear your feedback on tonight's little chat. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you all soon. Knowing that you want to do the lifestyle assessment, so I'll pop that in the comments as well, the link to the lifestyle assessment or the wellness lifestyle assessment. Let's start with the basics and let's build you up, so that you can be the best version of yourself possible. Being mindful at the same time of that psycho emotional aspect and start becoming aware of why you put things into your mouth. So this can be food, this can be alcohol, this can be drugs. Why are you doing that to yourself, basically? Why are you putting those things into your system? Same as, when you start to look at your finances, it's the same thing. Are you buying that item because you really need it? It's a requirement, or are you buying it because you want it? And there's no judgment. It's just, why am I doing this? And then if you are someone who's got a shopping habit or a shopping issue, spending issue, do you really need to spend that much money? Is there another way that you can do it? Same thing happens with your food, right? Okay. So that's tonight's session in a nutshell. I hope that you have a fantastic evening, whatever it is that you're getting up to. And let me know if you want to do these sessions at a different time, because the more of you that jump on, the more that I know what to talk about. And if you've got anything that you would like me to speak to, again, please let me know. Otherwise, I shall see you again soon.